In this video, I'm going to teach you how to create a wall finish that's intended to look like marble or jade or some kind of, polished stone. Now, it's important when you do something like this that you really try to keep the colors accurate. So you're going to need a blender, you're going to need a couple of different colors, and you also have to keep in mind the fact that marble is made by compression of minerals. So there's going to be little breaks and veins and things that you're going to have to start to think about. So I'm going to start by, I'm going to just do a little corner because it's going to take a long time to create this and get a really nice effect. So I'm going to start by adding some blender to the corner here. And that's really just to kind of get my surface ready and, apply a little bit of color, a little bit of liquid to it. And also because I don't want these markers to come in super, super bright. And so blender sometimes can kind of tone them down a little bit. Now, thinking about the scale here, these are, again, this marble is made by compression. So it almost has like a circular texture where mineral plates came together. And so that's where I'm trying to kind of come in with these curves a little bit. Now, there's only so much lightness I can get with these markers because they have a value to them. So it's going to be important for me to be able to come in and bring some white in as well at the end of this. So you can see here I'm using my fingers a lot. Sometimes it's helpful to have a little cup of water next to you if you need to add a little bit more. But this is just really kind of a soft process that you just can't rush. There's a little bit of almost like a warm gold tone happening also in this marble. So I'm going to add some more blender because I don't want this gold to come in real yellow. But I'm going to add that in a little bit. You can see here I'm starting to blend and fade because there's a lot of range in this marble. So you can see I'm just going to kind of dot in a little bit and just blend it. So again, you know that you're doing a good job here if you've got some lights and darks, but overall softness. And so that's what I've got here. And I would do this same process through the entire swatch, kind of like I did with the wood. And then the next thing we need to do is just come in with some veining. Now, the veining is going to be tricky because we don't want it to get too dark because the veins in this marble aren't really dark. But we could come in really ever so lightly with just a pencil, kind of bringing in some lead here. And then once I've got those veins in, again, kind of following some of those curves, then I'm going to bring in some streaks of white. And you're not going to see a lot of this white because the colors themselves in this marble are already very light. But I'm bringing in some scumbling here because on top of that blending, it gives such a depth of color. And it brings in some highlights here. And I'm bringing it in at the edges in the same way that I bring in the real darks on the edges of certain things to make sure that there gives a sense of overlap and some line weight. I'm bringing in the highlights with this white. Just kind of bring that contrast up a little bit more. And that's really the key to it. I could come in and just kind of lighten this up a little bit more, but once I have a colored pencil on top of marker, you can't really add marker back onto it. It's going to start to get a little bit kind of gummy and strange. So just kind of know that the pencil coming in is the last part. And I'm just bringing in some white just to kind of tone down those veins a little bit and to give them a little bit of spread. Okay, so that's my marble, and it's the same process all the way through. But again, it was a combination of an entire layer of blender, and then I looked at the marble sample and pulled a little bit of the green and blue tones out, brought those in ever so slightly, and then used the blender to kind of fade out and bring some value, some lights and darks, and spread some of that ink to kind of tone down the real bright greens. And then I came with a very thin pencil to bring in some of the veins, and then I came over with white to lighten everything up. And it looks pretty good. Now I just have to finish the rest of the swatch.